Hey man, this is Cornelius Lindsey, and we are here for another leadership session. You know, this month we're talking about servanthood. Enlist me, how to be the greatest servant. You know, in Luke chapter 22 is very clear. It says, "Let the leader be like a servant. Let him be a servant." Jesus says in the book of Matthew, Jesus says that let the greatest amongst you be your servant. See, there's something that goes with servanthood and leadership. Oftentimes, we like to assume that to be the greatest leader means that you have to be the person who's not serving. But can I tell you this? The greatest leader is the one who serves. Now, in order for you to be a good leader, you have to be a good servant. But in order for you to be a good servant, there's just certain qualities that you must possess. To be a good servant, you have to be humble. That means that you cannot be this prideful person who assumes that there are jobs and assignments that are beneath you. There have been different times in my leadership journey where I've had to realize that there's no assignment that is lower than I am. You know, when we first started with the church, I was the person who cleaned up the bathrooms in the morning before people got to church. I set out the peppermints. I set out the mouthwash to get the bathrooms prepared for people who were coming in. You know, when we first started, I was there early to clean up the church, to clean up the theater so that people could be able to come in and it wouldn't be nasty. I was there to put out candles in the mornings after it had rained because we didn't want the theater to smell like it was mold. I mean, I was there in the beginning stages to go and get the job done when there was nobody else to do it. And people would get there and they'd say, "Pastor, are you the one who's doing this? Are you the one who's setting this stuff up?" And I'd tell them, "Yeah," because there's no job that is above me. In fact, I think one of the greatest places I love to serve is in the parking lot. Unfortunately, that's a place that we can't seem to get people to want to go and serve in the parking lot, because in the parking lot you're not really being seen. You're not really in the mix of what's going on with everybody. It takes a servant's heart to want to be there, and that requires humility. It requires you to be teachable. A lot of times as men, we don't want to be teachable. We don't want somebody to teach us the way we should go because we think we may know the way that we want to go. But you have to be teachable. You have to have this type of humility that says, I'm willing to lower the estimation of myself so that I can learn from somebody else. In fact, even from those people that you may not think that can teach you anything. But it's very important that you have that insight, that you understand it, and then you begin to grow with this. You need to be humble. You need to be teachable. And then thirdly, you need to make sure that you're passionate. You know, as a servant, I want to make sure that what I am doing, I am passionate about. Leaders are very passionate people, and they're passionate about what they serve in. If you're doing something right now, if you're serving in a capacity, and now the place where you're serving in, you're dreading going to serve, you're dreading being there, then I'm telling you, your service is going to only last for so long. If you're going to be a good leader, and then you have to be a good servant, but you have to be passionate about what you're doing. And sometimes that just means you're praying and you're asking God, give me the passion that is necessary so that I can get the job done. God, don't let me go to my grave knowing that I served in an area that I wasn't really passionate about. I want you to know that as a leader, it is time for you to be passionate about serving. And I want you to know it in next steps that you need to find places to serve. Whatever your local church is, you need to be serving. Serve somewhere. You need to be serving. Number 2, you need to be serving at home. If you're a husband, serve your wife. If you're a father, serve your children. With husband and father, serve your family. If you're a leader, serve your employees. That may be going down and doing things that you may not even think that they might even think that you'll be willing to do because maybe they assume that you think that you're higher than them. No, go and serve them. Find a way to be able to give back to them. Show them that the greatest amongst you is truly a servant. So you can serve at your church, you can serve your family, you can serve at your job, you can serve them. You know, instead of you being the one who's always being driven around, why don't you get in the driver's seat and why don't you do the driving? Why don't you help out some way? Why don't you offer lunch? Why don't you pay for lunch? Be a good servant. Learn how to serve other people. And whenever you get into a situation where you're around somebody, you always have to question, should I be the servant or not? Always go the route and take the answer of, I'm going to be the servant. For me, I like to take that route because when I know that I'm being the servant, that means that I'm working on being the greatest leader amongst the people who I'm around. So men, I want you to be encouraged. I want you to know that you are enlisted into active battle, that you are called to serve because you are to be great. Now we're going to take this information, we're going to apply it, we're going to study it, and then we're going to grow from it. Amen? God bless you, and thank you so much for tuning in.